Gentlemen. All right, we're pleased to be joined by Cornell head coach Connor Buczek, along with student athletes CJ Kirst, Wyatt, Knust, and Hugh Kelleher. The Big Red defeated Penn State 11-9 to advance to Monday's championship game. Coach, would you make an opening statement?
Sure. Incredibly proud of our group. You know, they stayed the course today. They played through 60 minutes, and, you know, even though there was pockets of that game that, you know, weren't as pretty as we'd like, it's about just surviving and advancing right now. And so really proud of the ground ball effort throughout the course of the game, our execution in the little details, specifically the ride and the clear, and really defensively closing the door when we needed to get our offense going, and then finding our footing and playing together. So incredible effort by our entire group, and excited to have the opportunity to continue to compete on Monday.
We'll take questions for the student athletes. Please wait for the microphone and identify yourselves. Right here.
Hugh, can you describe your game, and particularly the third goal, which was so important to stem their momentum after they had scored 3 straight in the fourth?
Sure. Thank you for the question. Mikey Long made a great play there, found me on the backside, had a bit of space, and was able to put the ball in the back of the net. And then all the credit goes to everyone on the field at all times, especially CJ, Mikey, Goalie. They do a great job of drawing all that attention, and it creates opportunities for all the other guys to make plays.
Yeah.
Patrick Stevens with Lacrosse Magazine. For both Hugh and CJ, just kind of walk me through what the first quarter or so was like. Was it a matter of just trying to everybody getting their feet under them a little bit as the thing kind of felt like maybe people were holding their sticks a little tighter, or however you might describe it?
Yeah, I think start of the game, I mean, we were playing our game. You know, it might not show on the scoreboard, but, you know, I know we were trusting each other and, you know, playing within the system. Maybe ball wasn't going in the back of the net like it does usually for us and show on the scoreboard, but, you know, we knew every time we got in the huddle that we were playing our game, that we were comfortable, and, you know, our defense doing a good job, you know, holding them down. So that's why it was a tight game to start, and then kind of continued from there. But, yeah, we were just trusting each other from that start.
Questions down in front?
Trevor Haas with the Boston Globe. Question for Wyatt and Connor. Matt Dooley is really stabilizing force for you guys. He doesn't really get much publicity, but what does he mean to you guys, and how important is he to your success?
Yeah, sure. Matt's a huge part of our defense. I would say he's the loudest person down there, always communicating, and it makes a huge impact from the short sticks and to the other poles. And just from a confidence standpoint, he's always the loudest one out there, makes some big plays in the middle of the field, and he's been a great player for us all season. And again, his communication is unmatched, and that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but it makes a huge impact on the field.
Hi guys, Brett Abrams with the Fayetteville Observer. Can you guys kind of talk me through what the halftime conversations were like, down 5-4? I know you guys haven't been down much at halftime this season. Just what were you guys talking about, and what was the conversations about how to get back into this game?
Yeah, we felt pretty comfortable at that point, you know, being down, by one. You know, there's a lot of game left. You know, we trust each other and we believe in each other, and I think that was the conversation we were having in the locker room from top down. You know, everyone was just saying, this is our game, we believe in each other, we're going to be able to get this done. And, you know, similar to last week, you know, being down, playing from behind, you know, we had that trust. Everyone had that look in their eye that we were going to get it done, and credit to the coaches for making sure that we all believed in each other and that we were going to get it done.
Wyatt, how do you describe the comfort level that you develop after saving the first 4 shots you see?
Yeah, I mean, it was good to settle in and get the first couple. Coming off a tough game from last week, you know, I wanted to make an impact early in the game, but it doesn't come from pressing and trying too hard to save the ball. I felt relaxed. Our defense was playing great, being aggressive, and not giving them easy looks. And I just tried to settle in, and I saw the first couple. But really, our short stick team middies and our poles stepped up and locked them down for the whole game and didn't give them many great opportunities.
Coach, for you, was it changing or picking up the rhythm of the game early on the faceoffs that kind of changed and then started falling your way, or was there something that switched in that second quarter for you guys to drive the possession?
No, to CJ's point, it was just staying the course. It was, even though we weren't maybe getting the looks or finishing the looks as frequently as we would have liked to, we want to be poised. We want to play six-man offense. We want to share the ball. And so certainly more possessions helped us find that rhythm as time went on. But they're an excellent defense. They put a lot of pressure on you. Their goalie made some nice saves early. And so for us, it was just about waiting for, that explosion, waiting for that opportunity. And again, this is a poised group, a group that's been through a lot and a lot of leadership that allows you to just keep going and trust that at some point it's going to open up for you. And when it did, we were able to cash in.
More questions for the student athletes, please.
Hello, Cornell Daily Sun. We've talked a lot about that senior leadership this season. What does it mean to the team to have teammates like each other and to have teammates like Ryan Sheehan and Andrew Dalton who maybe don't get all of the credit but are always there in those important moments?
Something that we preach in our program is the depth of leadership will ultimately determine our success level. And when you have guys that are captains, that are non-captains, that play, that don't play, that play big minutes, that play small minutes, and they all care the same, take the same ownership, that hold that line in the standard every single day, it makes your program pretty special. And we're very fortunate to have an incredible group of young men that have really bought into that process and given all of themselves to make this team successful. And it's given us an opportunity to win a national championship on Monday.
More questions for the student athletes? Otherwise, we'll dismiss them.
This one's for Wyatt and Hugh. If you want to follow up, you can. The 2 points that Brendan had in that surge in the third quarter. Just how much did that energize you? And when you go into and you see a celebration where a guy's basically putting his pole in like a sword, you don't see that every day. Just how energizing is that too?
Yeah, I mean, he was the spark for us in the second half, getting a goal, getting an assist, great feed to Goldstein. But he's been making plays all year in the middle of the field, picking up tough ground balls, and he's been able to make an impact on the offensive end. And when our defenders, when our short stick team middies are scoring goals, getting points, we know that's going to help our team out a lot and really made the difference in the game today.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever Brendan is winding up, it's definitely going to be a juice goal. It's great for the offense too. Gives us the confidence and the momentum shift to keep going and find our stride offensively.
Take one in the back real quick.
CJ or Hugh, all season long you guys talked about how not making it last year kind of fueled this team. What did that feel when the final buzzer sounded and all those hard work finally paying off that now you're playing for a national championship on Monday?
Yeah, it was pretty cool feeling, but kind of the conversation that we just had in the locker room is, we were here for Monday, and all eyes to Monday, and we're excited for the opportunity to compete for a national championship, and that's been one of our goals and start of the year, and started in the summer, and we're just excited for that opportunity on Monday.
Can the players just speak to the environment, just what it was like to play at Gillette, the crowd, the weather got a little messy there at the end, just what did you enjoy about the experience?
I thought it was a great environment. We had the whole Big Red line behind us and cheering us on. When the momentum started shifting, it gave us even more juice to keep going and close the game out.
For any of the three of you, Coach Buczek told the broadcast team yesterday that the regular season game didn't have much effect on this, with a couple of exceptions. And I'm wondering if when they made their run in the fourth quarter, if there was anything about knowing that you needed to make a play to stop the momentum that crept in.
Yeah, I mean, we knew we had to hold strong on the defensive end for that final 6-7 minutes. But throughout the course of the season, we've been in some tough spots, been down a couple goals at halftime, at the end of first quarters, and we've always had that belief the whole season. And that game in the regular season really gave us, that was a really tough game for us, and it gave us a lot of confidence going forward the rest of the season that we're never going to let that happen again. And I would just say the belief in this group is unmatched, and there was never a doubt in this game that either side of the field was going to finish this thing off.
Take two more up top.
Jackson inspection and John, are you planning to hang around watching this second game, and then what's the next 46 hours are going to look like for you all leading up to 1 o'clock on Monday?
Yeah, I think our coach is going to do a great job preparing us for Monday. I know we're going to enjoy the time together that we have. Not really focus on what's going on right now, but focus on each other, focus on getting our bodies right, and all eyes to playing Monday. And we're going to do what we can, have a great practice tomorrow, and then get dialed in. So just focus on each other.
Last one for the student athletes. Right here.
CJ, how are you feeling physically after today, and what is it like to see when maybe the shots aren't falling for you, other guys obviously stepping up to make it happen?
Yeah, I mean, physically feel great. Obviously not the shooting day or the dodging day that I was, planning on having, but, just the belief and the trust that, Coach Buczek's done a great job implementing in our six-man offense that, anyone can have a great day, and Huey stepped up big for us. Michael Long stepped up huge, and, you got Ryan Goldstein talking every single huddle about different looks, and, that's kind of what it's been all year. Sometimes I'm able to step up big for our group, but, the other guys were making a huge impact, and, that's kind of the game at this point, when you're playing the playoffs. You need guys to step up, and, super happy with the six-man offense that we were playing today.
Before the student athletes leave, this young man, did you have something you want to tell them?
Hello, my name's Hudson Farino from Nesson Clubhouse. Aside from winning and moving on to the finals, what was your favorite part from the game?
Hudson, that's an epic question. I would say the environment. Like yourself, I'm sure you're dreaming about playing in a Final Four, and when you walk out there and you see the Big Red fans, you see all the kids running around, you're seeing Fan Fest on the drive over in the bus. I feel like that's the coolest part about playing in this environment. You're dreaming about it for so long, and super excited to play again. So can't wait.
Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations. More questions for Coach? Right here.
Connor, I know you kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but just how even-keeled you guys were able to handle things throughout the game. What does that kind of stem from, and is there a sense with you guys that there is one of those bursts like you had in the third quarter waiting around the corner eventually?
Yeah, I think this is a group that we spend a lot of time talking about challenges and putting them in challenging scenarios and making sure that, easy is not acceptable. And so from the time we recruit these guys to the time they come on campus and throughout this year specifically, we spent a lot of time putting them in adverse situations. And, that's how you grow a little bit of a callus and an opportunity to just stay in the fight. And so when we trust each other and there's belief in that locker room of every player is going to do their job and, they know they've been there before, there's an incredible confidence that comes from that. And so I'm really proud of the way these guys have taken to that. They've shown resilience day in and day out, starting all the way back last year, but realistically over their whole career at Cornell. But, the toughness, the resilience, that's something we can hang our hat on. That's Cornell lacrosse, and I'm really proud of the way they're displaying that.
Up here.
Connor, how did Jack adjust from the 0 for 4 start to finish 16 of 20 going down the rest of the way?
Yeah, I think I'm more, this is conjecture more than anything, but I think they were jumping some whistles and kind of guessing a little bit. And then as they started to vary the cadence there, it seemed like they started to get some more violations, and then they had to slow down their cadence a little bit. And once that happened, I think Jack started to dial in. Jack's really quick and he trusts his hands, and, he's not guessing anything. And so, if they're able to jump it, good for them. And I think that was kind of the difference there. A few violations there that slowed them down a little bit and made them whole a little bit. And then from there, Jack's done what Jack's done all year. He's a resilient kid. He's a tough kid. He wins the big ones. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he won 10 of the 12 in the second half or something along those lines, and that's a difference maker for us. That gets our offense in rhythm. That allows us to play in different ways and use them in the sub game and create opportunity for ourselves. And so he's a superstar. He's a competitor. He's tough. He's resilient. And today on the biggest stage, he did some pretty special things to help us win.
Take two more for Coach Buczek here and then right there.
Questions on a couple guys. One, Staub's influence and whatnot there in that third quarter spurt, and how much he has made a difference for you today and all season, and also being able to win without CJ having a typical type of CJ Kirst game.
Sure. Brendan does so much so well for us, guarding the ball, picking up ground balls, being poised in the clear, creating offense, recognizing opportunities to be aggressive. He's an All-American. I think that was a miss on the country to not give him an All-American award this year, but he does so much for us that I think if you turn on the tape, obviously we've got Jay Singer, who's an incredible, player in his own right, but Bren right next to him makes a lot of those plays, and Matt Dooley really rounds out that group, and so they complement each other so well. with CJ not having the day that he, might have expected or we would have hoped for, it's six-man offense. We talk about it constantly. It's not about who's at the end of the rainbow. It's about who's, doing their job to make sure that we're creating great opportunities. And today he did his job. He didn't press. He didn't try to do too much. He wasn't hunting his own to make sure that, he felt good at the end of the day. He just wanted our team to win. And we've got the best player in the country who's just working to make sure that his team wins the game. You've got a pretty special group that trusts one another, that believes in one another, and is going to overcome whatever situation comes our way.
Take one more up top and then down here to close out.
All season long at this time of year, you rely on those seniors, and you told me you've relied on them all year. Over these next 48 hours, how much you were going to allow these guys to cap it off the way they want to?
They have the keys. This is their program. I'm here to lead, to help, to mentor, to coach. This is their program, and they're driving this thing forward. The success, the belief, the resilience you're seeing is all being driven from within. And when you've got young men that you can trust to do that, it really creates an incredibly high ceiling.
Last question.
Hey, Coach. From a motivation or dedication standpoint, was there anything different that you noticed from your team heading into this game compared to the game against Penn State in March?
No, I think the stakes were a little bigger. That if you're not up at the final buzzer, you go home, and so maybe the stakes were higher. But outside of that, I don't think there was any change in how we approached it and the motivation. And obviously, we felt like we played a pretty good game, but not a great game the first time around, and we left some plays on the table, and that one stung. That one stung as bad as anything I've been a part of in a long time. And there's two options at that point. You can let that degrade your spirit, or you can let it, motivate you to move forward. And I think this group has taken that the right way, has grown from it, has understood and taken accountability for the plays we left on the table. And again, not taking anything away from them. They're an excellent team. They're well coached. They're tough. They're disciplined. But we recognize that we left some plays out there and we have to get better. And so that's been the mantra, a relentless commitment to improvement every single day. And these guys have really felt that sense of urgency, and it's driven us forward.
Coach, congratulations. Good luck Monday.
Thank you.